Are the Habs better than we thought? It's 17 games into this season, and it sure is looking that way.
Hey, everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs. After last week's three-game winning streak put the Habs into the early playoff picture at 8th place in the Eastern Conference, they go on to lose their next two games to the second best and to the worst team in the conference. As Habs fans, we've gone from asking, are the Habs better than we think? To, are the Habs better than we think? That's a pretty big shift in the space of just 5 days. In this video, I'll go over some recent Habs news and try to answer some of the questions surrounding the team. Let's start with the most recent news. Arbor Jackeye fans will like this. Montreal sent Rem Pitlick back down to Laval Rocket to make room on the roster for Mike Matheson, who hasn't been cleared to play as I'm writing this, but is expected to clear either today, which is Friday, or before Saturday's game versus Philly. This means Jackeye stays with the Habs and should play, not sit in the press box. Chris Weidman should continue to sit out till there's an injury. Yoel Armia, who is day-to-day, was not placed on the IR, so will be Montreal's spare forward for now, as Montreal will carry 8 defensemen. Mike Hoffman, who had a pretty good run in that three-game winning streak, scored the game winner in overtime versus Pittsburgh. So that put him third all-time in overtime goals with different teams. And this being his fourth team, so ahead of him are Jaromir Jagr with 6, Bill Guerin with 5, Scott Young with 5, and Steve Thomas with 5. So the question I have here is, has your opinion of Mike Hoffman changed at all in that after that three-game streak where I want to say he scored 4 goals? So let me know in the comment section what you think of Mike Hoffman, if you're still as disappointed in him, or do you think he'll be okay for this season? If you were one of those fans that were kind of shitting all over Mike Hoffman and you'd like to apologize to him, write to me at my email and I will send you this form, the Mike Hoffman apology form. Gives you every reason that you need. You don't have to make up anything. Just tick it off, send it to Mike Hoffman, and you'll feel a lot better afterward. In the Pittsburgh game as well, Montreal scored 3 game-tying goals in the third period for only the second time in franchise history. The first time was January 7, 1919. That's just a little over 2 years after the NHL's first ever games on December 19th, 1917. And in the game that Montreal accomplished this feat for the first time, they were playing the Toronto Arenas, and the Habs won 7-6. When some of the Habs players before the season started, and I'm thinking of Nick Suzuki in particular, and also Joel Edmondson, said that this team was going to surprise a lot of people this season, they weren't kidding. It's getting close to the time to reevaluate this team to see where they're going to end up at the end of the season. I'll be doing that in the next next week, I think. Once they pass the 20-game mark, we'll reevaluate and see maybe this team's better than we think. As of Thursday morning, the Montreal Canadiens sat in 20th place in the NHL. They were 6 points from the bottom of the league and 6 points from 4th overall in the league. So who'd have thought they'd be there? I would have thought they'd be at the bottom of the league at this point. And so are they better than we thought? Still to be answered, I think. Captain Nick Suzuki has 11 goals, 10 assists, 21 points after 17 games. He's on a pace for 53 goals, 48 assists, and 101 points. He is currently number 14 in the league in scoring. Now, I've been a big Nick Suzuki fan, the whole time he's been here, and while he was after Montreal got him in the trade. But I'm kind of in awe about with what this kid does, the intelligence, the cerebral hockey that he plays. He's a really intelligent player, and he processes the game so fast. Incredible. Cole CAUFIELD has 9 goals, 7 assists, 16 points totals after 17 games, putting him on a pace for 43 goals, 32 assists, and 75 points. Kirby Dach's pace is a little slower. He sits at 4 goals, 11 assists, and 15 points, on pace for 17 goals, 51 assists, and 68 points. Not that much slower. If the number one line can keep up this pace all through the season, this could be the best Habs number one line since the 1970s. That line was centered by Jacques Lemaire. On the left was Steve Shutt. And on the right, the guy that right behind me there, Guy Lafleur. That was a great line. They had 4 amazing seasons. Just coincidentally, those were the 4 seasons in a row that Montreal won the Cup at the end of the 1970s. And this is the best first line since these guys. And I'm going to show you their numbers. This is from 75-76 through 78-79. Lafleur in 75-76, 125 points, Shutt 79, Lemaire 52 points in 61 games. The next year, 136, 102, and 75. The year after that, 132, 86, and 97. And then that last year, the last Cup of the 70s, 129 for Lafleur, 77 for Shutt, and 55 for Lemaire in just 50 games. He was injured. But as you can see, now I'm not saying these guys are going to hit those kind of numbers, and I don't think Suzuki is going to get Lafleur numbers. But this is the best line, number one line, that Montreal has had since those guys. It's a long time. It's about time. And can't wait to see what kind of numbers these guys do put up if they do stay together for an extended period of time past this year. Has Kirby Dach finally found his NHL game? Yes. Yes, he has. Dach is everything that we had hoped he would be, and then some. Dach is proving to be exactly what the first line needed. Size and skill. A guy that goes into the corner and wins pucks. Great vision and playmaking. And now, possibly a power play quarterback. Montreal still has possible plans, I think, for him to move back to center at some point, as they've got Vinny Lecavalier starting to work with him on improving at the dot for his faceoffs. He does not have good faceoff numbers. Dach's most glaring weakness is the faceoffs. If they trade either Devo or Monahan at the deadline, I kind of expect Kirby Dach will move back to the center position, at least to finish out the season. Or maybe they'll pick up somebody else to do that instead. But we'll see what happens with that. And I think they do have plans that he may become a center again, or it could turn out that this chemistry between them is so good that they're going to leave him there, and they'll form the star number one line of the future for Montreal. Here's a thought for you all. If the Montreal Canadiens find themselves to be too good to be a bottom 10 team and out of the running for one of the 7 centers at the top of next year's draft, what do you think this could mean for center Sean Monahan? He's on an expiring contract and likely to be traded at the trade deadline. But he could be a good player to keep around if you want to keep Dach on the first line wing and can't get that top draft pick that you're hoping to get. So I think that this kind of maybe could signal a change in how they might be thinking about Sean Monahan's future here. They could trade him at the deadline and have an agreement with him that they'll sign him in the offseason. They could not trade him and not pick up a really good draft pick. I would think that they would get at the trade deadline. But if you really want to make sure that you have him for next year, you might not trade him, right? So what do you think that means? So let me know in the comment section. So we're going to end with this. And like I said, everybody watching, please let me know in the comment section what you think about that. What's your opinion in the Sean Monahan question is? I guess that's what we'll call it, the Sean Monahan question. And has your opinion of where Montreal will finish at the end of the season, has it changed? And if so, how has it changed? Let me know in the comment section. Till I hear from you guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. Bye, everybody. Keep your stick on the ice.